Welcome to Behind the Seal, which is the official podcast of the Missouri Secretary of State's office. I'm your host, Sam Swoboda, and it is October, which happens to be Cybersecurity Month, and we thought it was a good idea to have an episode focused on that topic. At our office, cybersecurity isn't just about protecting data. It's about protecting trust in everything we do, safeguarding elections, historical records, business filings, and more. Cybersecurity is at the heart of it all. That's why our team treats cybersecurity as paramount. It's the foundation that keeps information safe, services reliable, and public confidence strong. Joining me today is our Chief Information Officer, Paul Booth, who leads the charge in keeping our systems secure and resilient. He oversees everything from IT infrastructure to cybersecurity strategy. So, Paul, thanks for being here.
Well, thanks, Sam. I appreciate that.
I guess first, what first got you interested in IT and cybersecurity? And was there a moment or incident that kind of pulled you in?
Well, to be honest with you, it all started in military. As you know, I'm a veteran of 34 years with the Missouri National Guard. I spent 5 years of that with active duty with the U.S. Navy. But most of my experience came from the MoGuard, Missouri National Guard. And what we had to do, and it was an evolution from back in my day, is we started with the basics. Exchange, email, things of that sort. But then as the Department of War started to be a little bit more creative in their security posture, there were serious security events that were happening overseas with exfiltration of data. And when I say exfiltration, that is not being able to control what leaves your network. So there was some information that sensitive in nature, of course, can't really say too much here, but I just want to let you know that sometimes we have to, go through a cybersecurity training effort to help avoid some of that exfiltration of data that could land in the wrong hands.
I'm kind of interested in kind of knowing what your daily job actually looks like. I think a lot of people imagine kind of movie-style hacking scenes, maybe something a little bit like hackers detected. Initiating internet scan. Intruder located. Activating Omega Team 6.
There we go.
Justice delivered.
That's the Secretary of State A-team right there. So in reality, Sam, I just want to let you know, when I come in, we go through a series of tools that we have within our network, and so we get visibility on everything. You got firewalls, you got intrusion protection systems. I mean, there are geo-blocking that we got from third world countries to make sure, China, Iran, some places in Iraq, Africa. I mean, there are many places that try to somehow, break down the barriers that we have put up for defenses. And we make a determination if that's something that requires some more attention. And so I need to make sure that everybody's on their toes when it comes to incident response. I need to know that people know what they're doing, so that way when they make changes, when they make updates, that we don't self-inflict damage within our own network. We're not perfect. We'll make mistakes. That's when you throw the flag up, and that's really when you find out how good your team is, because when you have incidents, how do people react? How do they communicate? And so that part of my job as CIO to make sure that we have the team cohesion in order to make things flow efficiently, and then also expedite with purpose.
So, speaking about like all these different places that are maybe trying to, attack us, how often does that, happen to us on,
It's 24/7.
Yeah.
It's every day. And thank goodness we have the tools to mitigate a lot of those issues.
Are there any major attacks that really kind of stand out that you've had to deal with?
We are lucky on our end because we have built some very good devices and protectionism to mitigate some of those DDoS attacks. And when I say DDoS, I'm talking about multiple machines trying to go to the website at the same time over and over and over and over again. Artificial intelligence, bots, you talk about a whole new frontier of trouble. That is just right on top of things. And so we, as cybersecurity professionals, have to deal with that. So Quantum computing, that's another thing. If that ever gets to a point of production, anything that is secure traffic, so far as SSL, and when I say SSL, I'm talking about secure traffic between a web browser and the server. A lot of times they'll do a little handshake between each other.
Right.
And then they'll use an algorithm and they'll go ahead and do so it's encrypted traffic back and forth. Well, with quantum that comes up, all that gets hacked. Boom. That goes away. So there's a whole new challenge going on for future cybersecurity administrative type professionals. And hopefully I'm not going to be around that long to worry about it.
You mentioned that we're protecting from threats on the outside, but we also have to make sure that we're mitigating risk from the inside. What are we doing what are some things that we're doing here at the Secretary of State's office in order to do just that?
So some of the things that we're doing is we're implementing a training program, cybersecurity program that includes email. So as you know, email is the biggest vector for nefarious characters to compromise an internal system. What we have done is, based on anniversary date of the employee, we go ahead and assign them their security modules to go ahead and go through their training program. This way, it keeps everybody refreshed. We try to refresh individuals on their security platform, so that way they have an idea that, hey, this email looks suspicious. Here's some of the guidelines on the email, the header information, who's it from, is there a misspelling in the body, what the subject say, do I know this person that's actually sending me the email, and then if there's any question or anything like that, then we allow them to fish the actual email, so that way it comes to our office and we can go ahead and review it. So now, we do have a couple training programs. So we do push a yearly cybersecurity program, and we kind of like a glorified Friends cybersecurity videos to kind of make it fun. And then we try to, not too many answering questions, but to watch videos and scenarios involved with potential issues. Sharing of passwords, clicking on nefarious links and not knowing it. The other thing is, sticking your thumb drive in there or plugging your phone in to charge it. That's another huge risk right there. So, it's funny, you talk about mitigating risk, and risk really is the key to everything that we do within this organization. At what level of risk are we taking when we open up a website for millions of Missourians to access, the website to get the information need from the Secretary of State?
Right.
And with that, we have to put in some mitigation in there to make sure that nefarious bad actors aren't getting involved. So it's a challenge. The other thing is that we also have the IT employee handbook to make sure that, hey, when you come in here and sit at your desk, like your laptop, and you're logging in, these are expectations, because things are sunshineable. The access to a laptop or a desktop, and when you get on the internet, you are opened up to the world. I mean, you are opened up to the world. And it's no longer safe and secure, and this is my own little space. Nobody sees me, and I can do whatever I want to do. That is not true anymore. Absolutely not true anymore. So I do try to iterate within our training that, hey, you know what? This is an open book. You post anything. You text anything, you email anything, Facebook, Instagram, any other social media platform, it is there for life. It is there for life. And I kind of feel sorry for some of the generational kids that are growing up in that social media area, because I think sometimes it comes back and bites them a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I'm okay so far.
So one of the things I want to ask is, we're talking about what we're doing here internally to try to mitigate risk, to stop cybersecurity attacks. The common citizen, what do you feel is like the most common mistake they make online?
When you ask me what people do that probably should pay attention a little bit more or be self-aware That is the stuff that you download every day on your personal laptop or your phone, because there's always nefarious items out there. So what do you do to mitigate that? Because that's a huge risk.
Yeah.
And those are things to think about. So the cloud is nice. There are benefits to it. But at what point, are you willing to sacrifice if you get dropped? Can you go for 6 days without connectivity?
Oh, yeah.
But anyways.
Well, you mentioned like passwords are kind of a big deal. Maybe people aren't making them secure enough. Maybe people are reusing the same password over and over.
So at some point, and I know the Department of War already does this, their cards right here, they put them in their computer. It's a certificate saying this is me. So there are 3 parts that we need: something you are, something you have, and something you know. That's really the key here. So I foresee something here in the future that we're going to have to, like other agencies, you're going to have to put your CAT card in.
Some sort of a physical item.
Yeah, common access card to identify who you are. So that way when you send an email, that certificate's on your email saying, hey, it came from you and nobody else. So that gives assurance that, hey, this is not a nefarious email.
Yeah.
So I do foresee that in the future.
Here's it's kind of a semi-related question for just the common person. In an effort to kind of keep passwords more secure and more varied, there's a lot of like password managers out there. What are your feelings on those password managers? The one thing that worries me is that you're keeping your password out there on the cloud, out in the world. In the event that got hacked out there, well.
So good question. At my house, I do have a password manager that I use. Don't get me wrong, password managers can be compromised and can be exposed out there. And that's interesting because I say do your homework. If you like a password manager, do some searches and find out how vulnerable that particular password manager has been exposed, or if it had any history of exposures. There are several out there that have been compromised, but there's one so far that I'd like to go ahead and move into. I really can't say right now, but I have not seen that on the hit list yet, which is kind of nice. But for the most part, a password manager is highly recommended.
Good.
So Gmail, or Google, I should say, they do offer for free, because I've seen it, where they'll do a background on the dark web to see if your email account has been compromised or if your password's been compromised. So I know Google does that. I know other browsers will offer that also. So that's a good thing, because the dark web, if they get your information, they'll sell it. And the other thing is, internally within our organization, we always look on the dark web, the dark web, and make sure that none of our folks here are compromised in any way. So that kind of gives us a heads up on the intel side to make sure that we, have a heads up on any kind of potential leak or anything of that sort. So
you hear the term dark web a lot, just on the news. What is that? Is it physically separate from like the regular web, or is it? It
is. It uses a different browser. It's a whole new encryption algorithm technique. I personally have not dug into the dark web. It's a kind of a scary place because everything's out there, like bad, good, indifferent. It's all out there. You want to buy stuff, you just make a choice. So it's out there, but we have people that internally here that give us feedback on the dark web on a kind of compromised email address or password within our organization, and also reflective on our phones too. So got a story to share on this. So I get this message back saying, hey, this person, this phone number, found it on the dark web. I said, well, and they thought it was one of our folks here, Secretary of State. And I thought, well, let me check it out. And so what I did is I looked at the name, but no record of the name at all, right? So I'm like, okay, nothing that I could ever find here. So I just called the number. This poor gal answers, right? She goes, hello. And I said, hey, I identify myself. I say who I am. And I said, oh, by the way, I found your number on the dark web.
Oh.
And she was like, What? She goes, I was wondering why I was getting so many phone calls all the time. And I said, well, hey, this is a great excuse for you to get a new phone number, okay? So you got something to at least look for. So I just, to let people know, the general population also externally, that, hey, nothing's secure anymore. All that information's out there. And it's funny because I'll digress a little bit more into PII, personally identified information.
Yes.
We think our birth date and all this stuff is all good. Well, I got an app on my phone for all my medical stuff. Great tool. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Get in there, pay my bill. Hey, here's my appointment, all that. Oh, and I get something in the mail. Hey, guess what? We got compromised, and you'll get a free My ID or, some kind of background check to make sure your accounts aren't exfiltrated or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's great. So basically all my PII has been exposed, right? So it's out there. My father's stuff out there. Being in the Department of War years ago, back then DOD, they had a hack on the Office of Personnel Management. So all our information got taken. And when you go through a security clearance, all that information is taken too. So, is there a PII? Great question.
You hope. But
and we still exercise PII here locally within our organization.
Yeah,
it's a very serious effect. I know DOD when there was a violation of PII, that was kind of a big deal. I mean, people lost money, got thrown in jail, something.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it was pretty serious. So
absolutely. So if you could make every listener who's listening to this podcast change just one digital habit in order to help mitigate their risk, what would that be?
Track your passwords, track your username, track your checking accounts, social security numbers, anything that you can do to protect yourself from the dark web. Because right now everything's exposed. And I'm not saying exposed intentionally. I'm just saying there have been compromises. So poor security. People find a way to, hack into these databases, and they're huge databases, millions and millions of people of their personal information, exfiltrate it and they go around, they'll take all the credit card information or whatever they got, and they'll try to sell it on the dark web. So they get so much money for a credit card or so much money for birth date and social security numbers. I mean, it is a thriving business, and with AI kicking in also, it just makes it even more of a challenge to keep your stuff secured. So I do let folks know that, hey, you need to pay attention. Technology's here. If you're not up to speed on it, I'd strongly suggest you either pay somebody to keep you safe or, get some situational awareness within your environment. So AI is the next frontier. I am telling people right now, AI, you think whatever you put into AI, it goes in and it gets used. There is nothing sacred about it. It's large language models. It will take whatever you input and it will use it. So I will steal things from you, and you'll even give me permission to do it. So
speaking of AI here,
artificial intelligence detected. Outer perimeter breached. Countermeasures activated.
Oh, I like that.
Activating Omega Team 6.
There we are.
Justice delivered.
Nice, Sam. That looks good. I like that.
Well, before we have you go, I do want to ask, we do some of that. We have some of that training here within the Secretary of State's office. Is there any sort of training you might recommend for just the average citizen? Like my kids currently are at the age where they're starting to get on the internet. Mm-hmm. My son is kind of a gamer, and his head's always in a screen.
Yep.
What would be, some good opportunities to help bring them up to speed on the current state of
parental controls? Obviously, super important.
Mm-hmm.
You got to watch your kids, and you got to watch what they're looking at, because after all, you do know 2 + 2 = 5. And if I say it enough times, you're going to shake your head. Yes, it is. So parental controls, there is a ton of information out there. The FBI has stuff out there. CISA, the Cyber Information Security if I get these acronyms right, there's so many out there. They have all kinds of good documents out there for what you need to do to protect your family and also to configure your devices to make them even safer. So even myself at home, I have my own little firewall in there. It was real simple. I just plugged it in. It pretty much runs by itself. And then I can look on my phone and I can see where it's all going. China, Russia, I mean, all the places. I'm like, why is my stuff going over there? So, cell phones, when you're using those things, all that data gets downloaded, Washington, West Coast, East Coast, and you'll see 2 or 3 megs or, all that stuff. So everything you do, your kids do, it's a record of your life and their life, and it's permanent. So, I can just go into a bunch of other things, but again, privacy, there is none. I'm just saying there is none. Oh yeah, we make all these rules and everything like that, and the federal and state, they struggle with these things. Even myself, I struggle with which way do we go with this? How do we protect our children? How do we protect myself? And at what level do I start cutting loose the kids to even watch more? And at what level you're like, you know what, they're over 18, they're on their own. But yet give them the tools they need to be safe.
Yeah.
So that's really the big question. But there are some very good sites, and I strongly recommend that you as a parent, I as a parent, and our children and our grandchildren, that we pay attention to the social media, because it is a great tool, but it can be poison.
Yeah.
So we just got to mitigate, again, risk.
Absolutely. Well, Paul, thank you so much for coming on to the show. Definitely have to come back. I got a half a list of questions that I didn't even get to.
Well,
so.
and that's very cool, because now you're starting to make me think about things, because I never had the ability to actually sit here and just kind of talk about daily topics within the organization or externally on cybersecurity or on technology itself.
Well, again, thank you for coming on to the show.
You're
welcome. And I want to thank you all for watching today, and we will see you next time on Behind the Seal. Take care.
Take care.